Hello and welcome back to Talk Tonight. I'm your host, Dan Smith. This is Get to Know, the series where we're getting to know some of the best artists in the industry at the moment. I have a bit of a cold, so you'll have to excuse my voice. And today we've got a very special guest. It's Andrew Cushin coming back on the show. How are you, man?
I'm fine, pal. How are you?
I'm very well. Take two, so we already know which of are. It's been a long 2 years. So get to know. Take us back to the beginning. Where did it all start for you?
So I was brought up on a little council estate in East End of Newcastle. I spent there was just that typical childhood of, knocking around the streets with your pals, playing loads of football, stuffing bits of crap through people's letterboxes and pinching shopping trolleys and all that kind of stuff. And it was, the sort of best years of my life. And then got to probably about 14, 15 and my mother and father were moved to a bit more of a quiet area, and I suppose that's where my love for guitars really came. It was like there was nobody around that was maybe as lively as me. There wasn't as many kids in that about. So when I was 16, my father used to play the guitar, and for whatever reason, I mean, he wasn't great. You could play like fucking Wonderwall, and that was about it. You know what I mean? And for whatever reason, I was an acoustic guitar in the house. And my dad taught us two chords. It might be like an E minor and a G or something stupid like that. And then, as I say, from 16, I just taught myself the rest. I wasn't a genius in school, as you can probably fucking work out for yourself. I'm not the most educated kid in the world. But so when I left school, I was like in and out of college. I didn't really know what I wanted to do myself. When I was 18, I think I just failed whatever fucking course I was doing, and I was skint, to be fair. And my mother got us my first ever gig. My mother worked in a bank, and there was a lad there who was in a band, and they needed a support act. And I think I had "Waiting for the Rain" written at that point. I wrote that when I was 16, so I think that was one of the only original songs I had. I think I might have had a few other bits, and I supported these guys, and I played a couple of Oasis tunes, I think I might have played a Donovan tune, and then I played "Waiting for the Rain" at the end. And there was a guy who came down, who was now my manager, called Lee, and I knew Lee through football just in the past. I hadn't seen him for a few years. I used to coach, play and all that kind of stuff, and asked him to come down just if he fancied a pint. After that gig, he decided to tell us that he had a history of managing musical artists, which I thought he was talking an absolute load of shite. And then he went on to say that he knew Noel Gallagher, which again, you're talking a load of shite. And then and then to top the lot, mate, he says, "No, that I've sent Waiting for the Rain to Noel. I took a little video of it." It was this point that I nearly fell off my chair. But about 2 weeks later, to everybody's amazement, Noel got back in touch, and he said he liked the song and he wanted to go down to London and meet him and all that kind of stuff. He introduced me to a record label. I was only 18 at the time. I'd done 4 gigs at best. You know what I mean? Their social club covers gigs. Totally hadn't done my apprenticeship music. I remember sitting down with all these people at Virgin Records or Virgin EMI, and they were going like, "I played the Clooney in Newcastle. You played the Boiler Shop. I played Lowlights where Sam Fender, worked." And I was like, "No, I've just played Benfield Social Club and fucking on a street corner at my mother's." And that was about it. And then we ended up signing a record deal, and that's where everything started, and that's where I could, fully divulge into music full time. 4 years down the line, mate, and 2 lockdowns later, we're here, and I'm talking to you, and fucking just loving my life, mate. We've done some amazing things. So lucky and so fortunate. But I was doing another interview today, and I said the same thing. I really try not to think about it. I've done things at such a young age that I understand people would dream of. Recording a song with someone like fucking Noel Gallagher, do you know what I mean? Signing to Pete Doherty's record label. We're supporting Paul Weller. I played Leeds and Reading Festival last year. It really is things that, people dream of. And I understand how lucky and how privileged I am to be in the position I'm in, but I can't think about them because it just drives us crazy. And, I'd like to think that that's just the start of what's happening. Do you know what I mean? It's not like, that's not the pinnacle of what's happening. That's just the very, very beginning. And I'd like to think that we can keep on going on to achieve these remarkable things. And I'm going to do whatever I can to keep on pushing boundaries. And as I say, as long as I'm enjoying myself, that's the main thing. But I have done some ridiculous things that I just, if I think about them, mate, they'd fucking blow my mind, like they really do.
You were quite a late bloomer then, picking up the guitar at 16. What made you like get into it? Was it just the fact that you were moving to that quiet area and you just had nothing else to do, or have you always had a sort of love for music?
Well, I mean, my father and stuff drilled in like the love of Oasis and like, the Jam and Donovan and Neil Young, Bob Dylan and stuff. So I was always into that kind of music from being a band. But I don't know, mate. I come from that background of like when I was at school and stuff. If you didn't have a football at your feet, you were a little bit odd. Do you know what I mean? And I know that that's quite a it's not an ideal thing to be saying in 2020, and you've got to respect everybody and all that kind of stuff. But it was like when I was 12, 13, 14, even up to 16, like around school, if you didn't have a football or a pair of shorts on, you weren't kicking the ball around the field, you were a little bit odd, mate. So, and as I say, that's no disrespect to anybody that, because I'm older now and I understand. In hindsight, I wish I had started doing music earlier because I probably would have been a hell of a lot better at it. You know what I mean? There's loads of instruments I'd love to pick up, but I just wasn't like that, mate. I think if my mum and dad didn't move house, I don't think I would have picked up the guitar. I think I probably would have just kept on playing football and, knocking around with my mates and all that kind of stuff. I probably never would have got into music. So I'm pleased that they did move. But yeah, I suppose I was a late bloomer if you looked at it that way. Like,
obviously, like you've had a couple of you could say lucky breaks. It's always in this industry a lot of the time who you know, but obviously you got to have the talent to go with that. But what do you think has been the biggest challenge for you as an upcoming artist? Because I mean, to be fair to you, like you've sort of come out of the dark very quickly, and then all of a sudden you're like quite well known. Whereas other people, they grew on for 5-10 years maybe. But for you personally, what's been the hardest part of it so far?
The hardest part of it, I think we got a record deal too early. It was amazing to get because I was able to not work and be financially secure and all that. But I think we got that a bit too early because that tended to go up my head. I remember walking around shops with like a ridiculous amount of money on me, like more money than I've ever had in my life put together. Do you know what I mean? Just buying Stone Island jackets just because you can. Do you know what I mean? Stuff that you'd wear once and then throw away, like just fucking stupidity. Do you know what I mean? So I think maybe that came a little bit too soon, and I wasn't ready as well. We hadn't done a lot of gigs. I'd never done what's called your apprenticeship in music. You're playing not necessarily just your social clubs and your bars, but you're playing venues that people they're not interested in your music. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And you've just got to get through it. They're like your tough gigs where you really learn what works, what doesn't work. Your banter on stage, things like snapping guitar strings and not having a spare guitar. How on earth are you going to sort of get yourself out of that situation? You've got another 10 minutes to kill. So I'd never done any of that at that point. So I think we maybe signed the deal a little bit too early. But it's all experience, and I'm still only 22 now. Do you know what I mean? I understand I'm going to make loads of mistakes, and I'll probably look back on things I'm doing now in another 2 years and think, well, we got that too early, or we got that too early. But I've just got to take everything in my stride. It's hard to overcome because, and you've only got to listen to the top 40 now. Do you know what I mean? To understand people with a northern accent who wear Adidas trainers in a fucking Stone Island jacket. They didn't get in the top 40 anymore. Do you know what I mean?
Well, you say that though, but I mean, look at the other lad from up north around your end, Sam Fender.
I've really good. I love Sam. Sam's a fucking top lad, but
it's sort of a unique one, isn't he? In the sense
Sam's a unique one, mate.
Yeah,
Sam's a unique. I was trying to. Yeah, I think unique's the right word because he's got the northern accent and he's got the patter and all that. But I don't know. I don't see me and Sam as the same person.
I was going to save this one for a bit later, but it's actually one of the reasons why we got you back on it was to what has been the impact of Sam Fender up north, and has it changed like the music scene in Newcastle at all?
Yeah, massively, mate. Massively. There's a scene in the northeast now which there hasn't been fucking years. Do you know what I mean? Since Dire Straits or something like that. There's now a music scene in the northeast. I now think everybody's immensely proud of what Sam's doing, and that goes for me as well. Do you know what I mean? I've absolutely love Sam, not only his music, but I do love him as a person. Do you know what I mean? He's helped me a lot with phone calls and all that. He's a fucking top lad. I've got a lot of respect for him. But he's now doing something for British music. He's not just doing it for the northeast anymore because there's, as you've said, unique. It's not just unique to the Northeast. He's now unique to British music. There's not many artists like Sam. Do you know what I mean? There really isn't. And I don't mean in what he wears or what he looks like or anything like that. I'm talking about somebody that actually writes their own fucking tunes first and foremost. Do you know what I mean? Because you go through the writing credits of Sam's album and it's all him. Do you know what I mean? And that's quite a rare thing. And that's something that I really admire from anybody. Do you know what I mean? I've lost interest in a lot of artists when I've realised, and I'll not name them obviously, but I've lost interest in a lot of artists when I've realised that they don't write their own stuff, but they still sell it as though it's their own stuff. Do you know what I mean? I'm not really into that kind of stuff. So I now think he's doing a job for British music. I don't think somebody's came around like him for a long time, and he's grafted hard for it, man. Like when we were just talking about like the apprenticeship in music, Sam's I think he's 27 or 28, but like you go online, you find footage of when he was gigging at 18. Do you know what I mean? So he's done his apprenticeship, he's done his graft, and he deserves all the success in the world. He deserves all the success in the world.
Do you know you were saying about like how all the lads, it's weird to be seeing like without football or whatever. It's very much the same where it's like where I grew up in Hull, you know, it's working class lads out on the street. Is that changing at all? Because people are seeing what Sam Fender's doing. He's arguably becoming more famous than those footballers.
Right, precisely, which is why I sort of reiterate my point of like nobody gets in the top 40 now who does what I've done. Do you know what I mean? They don't. They just don't. If you want to be a late bloomer in music, you're going to find it a little bit harder than everybody else because you've got a little bit more catching up to do. And in fairness to Sam, he said it himself. I don't think he did play football. I don't think he done music through school, and whether that was seen as odd or whether it wasn't, he's fucking reaping the benefits now. Do you know what I mean? And fair play to him for that. When I was at school, it was a little bit different to not play football, I suppose. I might just be in the school, I might just be in the area or the people I was knocking around with, but it was. But as I say, if I could go back, I probably would have picked up a guitar a couple of years earlier. I tried to learn the piano because it would have given us a little bit more of a head start than what I've got now. Do you know what I mean? We've had, as you said before, we've had some fucking really good lucky breaks. We've had an immense head start on a lot of people. But I could have given myself another head start if I was a little bit better at the guitar. I could have saved myself a fucking couple of months of teaching myself this, or if I could play piano, it'd save myself paying somebody to do that and all that kind of stuff. So I do wish I maybe picked up a little bit more musical knowledge, but if I did, I wouldn't be here as I am. Do you know what I mean? I just see myself as one of the lads. In when I come on and do like sort of interviews in music stuff or blogs, that's really what I try to sell. I'm nothing special. Do you know what I mean? I'm literally one of the lads. I'll go out on the weekend with my pals. I'll go and watch the match. The only difference is they'll get up at 6 o'clock in the morning and go to work. I'll go out at 3:30 in the afternoon and go and do a gig. That's the only difference. And that's all I want it to be. So I do think that maybe if I didn't play football as a kid, if I didn't knock around with the lads I knocked around with, maybe I'd be a little bit of a different person. And I don't think I'd like to be a different person. I quite enjoy who I am, even if people think I'm a massive cunt.
You said you regretted signing to the label a bit early. I saw you last year in Hull when you supported Pete Doherty. It was literally the week after second lockdown when he was on his acoustic tour. I don't know if that was before or after you signed to his record label, but like, how does that come about, and how is it different now being signed with him compared to how it was in the early days with was it Virgin you were with?
Yeah, well, I never regretted signing with Virgin. I loved it because that was a major label coming in for me at the age of 19, and they gave us a break that I'd never ever had. So I never regretted anything. I've never regretted anything I've done in music, but it was too soon. Do you know what I mean? Okay. If it had been offered 6 months down the line, I would have been in a lot better of a performance state. Do you know what I mean? But I never regret it. I've everything I've done is taught as a lesson. Do you know what I mean? If I didn't sign that record deal, then I probably would have been a little bit more naive with certain things. I might have, had a little few more hangers on than what I do. In terms of signing with Pete, because I have been with Virgin, been with the major and all that, I'm a little bit more clued up to know how things work. Not massively, do you know what I mean? That's why you get people like lawyers, and that's why you've got managers and all that kind of stuff. But I'm a little bit more clued up in knowing how things work, and knowing what I can give away and what I should give away, and not having my eyes taken out and all that. But then I also enjoy being on this label because there's so much freedom. Do you know what I mean? Like, we went in to do an EP. And there was no thing of okay, well, your last 3 songs, our last 4 songs were just you and an acoustic guitar. We want to keep that going. Do you know what I mean? We just want one man and a guitar, and there was no polar opposite of we just want you to play electric guitars. It was like you go into the studio and you do what you want, and if you're not happy with it, we won't release it. And if you're happy with it, then we'll do everything we can to make it a success. Which is something that I really admire both Jai and Pete for on the label, because that's the pinnacle of what you want to be as a musician. Do you know what I mean? You want to have that freedom. If you haven't got the freedom to express yourself, then there's no point fucking doing it. Do you know what I mean? But as I say, mate, I'm in a good position, and I'm happy, and I'm enjoying myself, and I'm writing a lot of tunes. Like, I'm writing every day now, and there's some really good bits coming out, and I know that if there's anything I want to put out, I just get straight to the label and they'll sort it out for us. So I'm in a good position label wise. I feel happy, which is good.
Is Pete having any influence on you writing songs? I spoke with Kieran Crook from the Sherlocks last week.
Oh, okay.
And
He's
we
a good
talking
lad.
about
He's a good lad.
Yeah, he was a very good lad. Yeah, it was a good
Nice
laugh. And we was talking about like most influential songwriters, and his favourite was Pete Doherty. He said he's probably the best songwriter of the last 20 years. And obviously you're in this, position where you could work with him. Is that happening? Is he having an influence, or is it very much Andrew, just get on with it yourself?
We did try and write a song at stupid o'clock in the morning, which didn't go very well. But because I've just came off tour with him, so we got a few nights on his bus, and that was great fun. It was just me and him staying up, and we had a couple of drinks and stuff, and the guitars came out. And I do think we tried to write a bit of a song together, but it never really materialized. But in terms of obviously he's inspired us to write. Do you know what I mean? It's the Libertines. Do you know what I mean? It's one of the most influential bands of the noughties. Do you know what I mean? And the fact that they're going on a tour to celebrate 20 years of Up the Bracket, and the tour's still selling out, just shows how important those songs still are. Do you know what I mean? And this is coming from guys that are in their 40s. Like, you think of someone like Liam Gallagher, whether you like his music or you don't, sorry, that's a guy who's coming up for 50 and can still sell 250,000 tickets. Do you know what I mean? So it goes to show how much music means to people. It's always inspired us to write. When you just say success inspires me to write as well. Do you know what I mean? Because when you see, I'm always one of them that if I hear something that's doing pretty well, I always think I can maybe write something a little bit better than that. I would have done this. Do you know what I mean? So I always try to challenge myself with stuff like that. I've never spoke to Pete in the sense that he said, "Why don't you try and write this?" I try and write that. There's a few songs, a few of the more personal songs. There's a tune called 4.5%, which I played the full team. It was quite an emotional song, and he gives a bit of advice on how to record it. Do you know what I mean? He said that's something you wouldn't do with a band. That would just be you with an acoustic guitar, and then you play him something else, and you'll go, okay, well, I'd do this. But in fairness, that's the same thing as what Sam Fender, sort of said for us. And so I've come across all these influential people, and all of them are fucking sound, man. They're giving us loads of pointers and loads of advice. So yeah, I suppose he does. What's the word I'm looking for? Inspire us. He does inspire us to write, but I can't write like a libertine. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. It's because I come from a different place.
Yeah, you're speaking to all these iconic artists, and who do you think's had the biggest impact on your music career so far?
Noel, without a doubt. And so as you've just said, there's been so many amazing people that have given us, priceless advice on not necessarily just on how to write, but on how to approach songs, on how to approach subjects in songs. But I'd probably say Noel, because that was the first time I've ever sat down with someone who was listened to, even if it's 8 seconds of the first verse, and he just knows the direction you need to take that song in. Because obviously you got to remember, when I was in that studio for 5 days, the only song we recorded was Where's My Family Gone, but I played him a couple other bits, and he was just like, you would get halfway through the first verse and you just go, right, you need a string section there, or you need an instrumental break there, or you need to do this, or you need to do that. And it was like, he's a real pro, man. He's a real pro. And again, whether you like him or you dislike him, he's a fucking professional. a real professional. He's been the most influential, I'd say, in terms of talking with him. And obviously the music he writes as well, do you know what I mean? That's massively up my street. I think there's a fair few of my songs I could maybe be sort of thinking with a Noel Gallagher rip-off, but you know, we'll just try and hide it. But yeah, 100% Noel, yes, 100%.
I think obviously you've had these people, you know, giving you that helping hand and, you know, sort of leading you in the right direction. And one thing I've noticed about you is you seem to be doing sort of a similar thing for younger artists and upcoming artists. I know I'm fairly certain you're quite close with Megan Wynn, who's been on the podcast, and she's a great young artist. And like,
She's sound, Megan.
Yeah.
She's a good lass. There's a few. It's good. How old's Megan now? She's got 18 or something, 17, 18.
19, isn't it?
19-ish, yeah. 19. But yeah, she's sound in Polaroid. That's what the tune's called, in it, because she was just going to release that on our Instagram or something. It was something fucking stupid. And I said, well, send us the song and I'll have a listen. And she sent us it, and I went, that's way too good for you just to palm it off. Do you know what I mean? I think she was going to do like the PR herself. She was going to put it on like Spotify, not bother doing a video, and that was just going to be it. And I went, no. I went, like, let's speak to a couple of people. And now I'm fairly sure she's in Manchester and she's gigging all the time. She's doing well. Yeah, she's a good lass. But I'll always try and help people. I haven't got a massively influential name in the music industry at all. Do you know what I mean? There's hundreds of thousands of people that are further up the ladder than I am. But if there's anybody that wants a little bit of advice, or somebody that's just starting out, and I find myself answering questions quite a lot on things like social media, you know, when people ask, how would you write this song? Or and it might just be young lads or young sort of lasses or a young band. If anybody's got any fucking questions that I want answering, and if I can answer them and help someone out, of course I would, because I've been helped out myself. Do you know what I mean? From the age of 18, 19, if it wasn't for Noel Gallagher getting involved, I'd pretend I'd have a full-time job. I'd be working somewhere else. So if I can help, you know, somebody to write a song, fucking hell, of course I will. All the time.
I think one sort of label that's been helping, I don't know if they're a label or an events company, I'm not too sure, but it's This Feeling. Obviously you've done a lot of stuff with those guys. What's it been like working with them? Obviously they've got, where is it? They've got their stage now. Which festival is it? Forgot.
They've got a few, mate. They've got a few to do. Got Isle of Wight.
I know Jamie Webster's headlining one, isn't he? And stuff like that.
But they're great. They're great. Mikey Johns he's a top bloke, and I've got an awful lot of respect for him, because when we first signed to Virgin AMI, as I say, we'd only done about 4 or 5 gigs, and because my manager Lee, he knows Mikey from years ago anyway, within 2 or 3 days of signing this record deal, we rang Mikey and said, like, listen, this is Andrew, like, we've sent you his music before. And Mikey got a full tour, like, it was a support tour, and it was up and down the country. It was like 18 gigs like the next month, and that was when I'd done my apprenticeship in music. So if it wasn't for him, you know, he helped me learn so much about gigging. I've got an awful lot of respect for him. In This Feeling, it's a great place for bands and stuff to start. Do you know what I mean? It really is. I think I'm still doing. I'm doing a few of their gigs. I think I'm doing a couple of their festivals with a band. I think I'm headlining 3 of the festivals that they're doing. But it's class. It's good for new bands. It's good for new artists. Like, because you've got to remember, man, it's so hard to get gigs when you're just starting. It's so hard. And that's why you find yourself doing covers gigs and all that kind of stuff. Whereas This Feeling give you that avenue to gig. So you've got to give them nothing but respect for that. Do you know what I mean? And as I say, if it wasn't for Mike, and if it wasn't for This Feeling in the early days giving me so many gigs, I probably wouldn't be the performer I am now. Do you know what I mean? So you got to take your hat off to them.
Brilliant stuff. Yeah, if you haven't been to a This Feeling gig, you know, some of the upcoming bands they put on are genuinely exceptional. And like you said, you know, in a time where COVID has shut down so many venues, they're still finding them putting on these upcoming acts, and it's brilliant. So yeah, shout out to This Feeling. Anyways, Andrew, let's move back to you. It's a month since the EP came out, You Don't Belong. Tell us the story behind that. How's it gone since? Like, how's the reaction been to that? I'll just give you mine quickly. My first listen, I thought it's different to the first stuff. I feel like you've definitely developed your voice. I feel like that was the first thing I noticed. You definitely seem more comfortable in hitting like the longer notes that you're like just being a bit more. I don't know what the word would be. You just sound like more passionate with it. I don't know if that's like the right word, but you just seem more into your own music. I don't know how you feel about that.
Yeah, it's massively different. Like it is massively different, but it was a case of I can do that acoustic thing, till the fucking cows come home. I really can, and I could sit with an acoustic guitar now. I could be writing a song whilst I'm talking to you in my head. If I was just strumming the chords, I can do it. Like, and that's not me being big headed. That's not me blowing my own trumpet or whatever the fucking saying is. But I know I'm good at doing that. And I wanted to try something a little bit different because all of my gigs, particularly my headline gigs where people are there to see me, people are standing round and they're listening to 13 or 14 or 15 singer-songwriter songs with big choruses, and it's fucking great. People have got their pints in the air and or their glasses of wine or whatever, and it's mint. But I wanted to get people moving as well, do you know what I mean? And I thought, if I can get a balanced set of like a couple of songs with riffs, a couple of songs with guitar solos, just have it a little bit with the electric guitar, do you know what I mean? Because I'm only 22, and I can always go back to that acoustic thing, which is why Runaway is on the record. So like, You Don't Belong, if you listen to You Don't Belong compared to Waiting for the Rain, it's like it's two separate things, do you know what I mean? And you've got to see it as two separate. If you see them both is typical Andrew Cushin, then you don't know what typical Andrew Cushin is. I'm so privileged and lucky that I think I can do both. And I might be wrong, there might be a couple of people that disagree, but I think I can kind of do justice for both to an extent. Like, Catch Me If You Can and You Don't Belong go down fucking ridiculously live. Like, ridiculously. Like, you see, like, the first time I've ever witnessed mosh pits at my gigs playing them songs and things like Yeah, Yeah, Yeah. It's just fast indie guitar. Do you know what I mean? But then you come out of that and you play Runaway and it's like, oh, fucking hell. It's Andrew Cushin still. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. It's not, he hasn't changed who he is. Do you know what I mean? I just wanted to bring a little bit more energy to the live shows. Yeah. So I challenged myself with that EP, and I said, whatever I write for it, because my manager had a couple of ideas of what he wanted to put on, and they were down that Where's My Family Gone Memories type route, with the big choruses and all that. And I said, no, whatever I write the next few days, that's what we're going to do. So like Runaway took like 10 minutes. you Don't Belong, I had the riff for quite a while. I mean, another guitarist had the riff for. And the lyrics kind of just came, and then yeah was like 10 minutes, and Catch Me If You Can was like a rewrite of an old song. So they're just all pieced together, and I feel like it does flow quite well. It's good that we're finally going to have some vinyl out. The vinyl comes out, I believe it's next week, which would be fucking amazing because there's been a big demand for people to get physical copies as well. But like, if you come to a headline show in the near future, you'll just see it works. It really works live. And as I say, it is a difference. If you're used to Andrew Cushin, it's going to get better, and Waiting for the Rain, in Memories, it's going to be a shock to you listening to those first three songs, because it was a shock to me when I first heard the mixes back. Do you know what I mean? But the more you play it, the more you'll get it. And when you come to listen to it live, it works. The transitions of the songs works. And as I say, we've got another 2 songs coming out towards the end of the year. In there, down the lines of your, acoustic guitars, big choruses, anthem type stuff. So I can do both. Don't just switch us off because you're not into You Don't Belong. There's still another Memories and stuff to come out later in the year.
Is this a conscious effort to like sort of try different things out? Obviously, like bands like, for example, Catfish and the Bottommen, they get criticised because they've released 3 albums that are all just incredibly similar. They seem to just be stuck in a rut. Obviously, they seem to have come to an end. Is this like you consciously thinking, right, I'm going to change it up, get a load of different people in, and to be honest, if you like the acoustic stuff, it's there. If you like the heavy and the bloody mosh pit stuff, it's there. Or is it just a case of, I'll just do what I like, and if people like it, that's good enough for me?
Well, I'm so early on, do you know what I mean, in this, like... Catfish have done a fair few albums and stuff, and when people criticise Noel for changing his sound, he was, 3 solo albums in. That was his 3rd solo album, sorry.
But you can't win, can you? Because people criticise you for changing. Yeah,
and then they'll criticise you for staying the same. So
Yeah,
you can't win. But I'm so early now that this isn't a case of me trying to consciously change what I'm doing. This is just a case of expressing myself and seeing what works. Listen, I'll tell you now, when it comes to doing an album, I'm re-recording Waiting for the Rain. It's going to get better, and I'll probably re-record Memories. And I might even fucking leave. Where's my family going alone? Actually, I was done by the cheek. You kind of touched that. Yeah, I nearly said something I'd regret there. No, but I'll be re-recording those 3 singles just because I want to see what works. You know what I mean? I'm not necessarily a different artist. I don't write different music, but I'm a more mature artist now, and I like to push myself in the studio. When I was doing It's Going to Get Better, I'm Waiting for the Rain, I didn't even know what a click track was. Those songs were just done live. The drums and stuff were processed drums like 3 weeks later. So now I want to try and push myself. If somebody's got some little wacky sound on a keyboard, let's put it in. Worst case, the worst thing that happens is it doesn't work and I take it out. Whereas 2 years ago or 3 years ago, if somebody was to come at us with a fucking Mellotron or something stupid, you know what I mean? Like a fucking Raj noise and say, right, we're going to put that Waiting for the Rain. I'd come, no, this is just acoustic. Do you know what I mean? It's like, no. Let's fucking experiment a bit. Let's try and have a laugh of it. Let's see what works. And then when we find out what works, we'll do an album based on that. And then who knows? 5 years down the line, mate, I might be doing fucking death metal. You never know. Fucking eyeshadow and all that tackle is fucking. We'll just but it's not a conscious decision to change my music or anything like that. It literally is just a case of. I mean, that EP, it was something to benefit live. That's really what it was. In those songs, if you break down You Don't Belong, it's still, that first verse is about suicide. Do you know what I mean? It's like, how can I share with you a story of lovely death about a man so young who gave away his last breath? Do you know what I mean? That's about someone fucking taking their own life. Do you know what I mean? So, in Memories is about the same sort of subject matter. So, the only thing that's different is an indie guitar riff. Do you know what I mean? It's still the same lyricist. It's still the same subject. We're just trying to make the music a little bit more upbeat, maybe. But as I say, it works live. It really works live. If anybody's a little bit unsure about it, just buy a ticket, come see it. It works.
That's it, yeah. You seem quite almost proud of your lyrics. I do put a big emphasis on writing lyrics.
I see myself more as a lyricist than a singer. Do you know what I mean? And I know that a lot of people disagree with that. Because there's a lot of people that, and you've got a great voice and all this of it, and that's amazing to hear, because if I couldn't sing, then I probably wouldn't be in the position that I'm in. But I do see myself as a lyricist. I've got a good ear for melody, and I've got a couple of voice notes and a couple of notes on my phone of some pretty good lyrics. And as I say, man, I'm writing all the time now as well. I'm writing like sort of every day, and there really is some good stuff coming out. But a lot of my lyrics are just recycled Noel Gallagher songs anyway, to be fair. So if he's got good lyrics and I've got good lyrics, that's the way it works.
Yeah. You're going on tour with him soon, aren't you? Playing a couple of shows with him.
Yeah, we're away this Saturday. We're in Swansea. We've got a festival with him. It's like us, then the Editors, then Noel. We're on like right up the bill. It's probably going to be the biggest crowd I've ever played in front of. But it's going to be amazing. It'll be good just to see him again. I was talking to him the other day, just before the final, the Liverpool-Madrid final. Class. He's the chief, isn't he? He's just a top bloke. So it'll be good to see him again. And then we do the Rock and Roll Circus in Newcastle, which is like 10,000 tickets. It's charlatans, Confidence Man, me and Noel. So me and Noel, fucking hell, who do you think I am? You know what I mean? So I mean, that'd be amazing as well. Then obviously we've got the 3 gigs with Paul Weller. He's got off tour with Pete Doherty, so it's like, I mean, Paul Weller was my dad's hero. Do you know what I mean? He's like, it's like pulling on your heartstring moments. So they're going to be really, really special times. And then we're playing St James's Park, which is like, we'll go back to what we're talking about with the football. It's like, fucking hell, man. Yeah, I dreamt of being a goalkeeper.
I was literally just about to say that. In our first interview, I asked, like, what's the dream? I listened back, Ellie, and you said, dream for me to play St James's Park, and I thought, well, it's fucking done it, man. It's done it 2 years. 2 years.
Amazing. Yeah, I understand it's not my gig. Do you know what I mean? I'm not selling 52,000 tickets, but I'm walking out to St James's Park.
Yeah.
And even if I'm playing fucking 30 seconds, I can say at the age of 22, I've played songs at St James's Park. It's a dream. And I was in the town the day, get my hair cut because it was getting like a fucking clip.
Yeah.
And we parked up just beside the ground, and I just looked at the ground and I just thought, Jesus Christ, man. Oh, this is just going to be the best day of my life. Like, the best day of my life. It's going to be such a proud moment for the whole family, do you know what I mean? I honestly cannot wait. And I've got to go do a press conference at St James's. I've got to do something with Sky Sports. It's like, fucking hell, man. It's like, I feel like a footballer. I actually feel like Shea Given. What the fuck's going on?
Brilliant stuff, sir. Andrew Cushin, thank you for coming back on the show. It's been an absolute pleasure talking to you.
Yeah, and you, man. Thanks for having us.
Brilliant. This has been Talk Tonight. If you enjoyed this, drop us a like, subscribe. Andrew's music, link to Spotify, Twitter, Instagram, whatever, it's in the description below. He is on tour later this year, I believe. He's doing gigs all the time, so you can go and see him. Again, just check him out, and we'll see you next time. Take care.